You know, for the longest time, when you thought about pest control on a farm, you probably pictured one thing, right? Chemical sprays. But what if I told you there's a smarter way, a more resilient, and yeah, even a more profitable way to do it? Today, we're going to dive into a whole farm approach that actually works with nature, instead of fighting against it.
Okay, let's just start with a number, a really big one, 4.5 billion dollars. So what is that? Well, that's the estimated value of all the pest fighting services that beneficial insects, the good bugs, provide for free every single year, just in the US. Think about that. It's like this massive hidden workforce that's already on the payroll, ready to go.
And when you hear a number like that, it kind of makes you ask a pretty fundamental question, doesn't it? We've all been taught to look for solutions in a bottle, on a shelf. But what if the best pest control isn't in a bottle at all? What if it's already out there, just woven into the very fabric of the farm?
So to really get why this new approach is such a game changer, we first have to understand the problem it's designed to solve. And that brings us to something called the pesticide treadmill.
If you look back, starting around the 1950s, this became the go-to image of modern farming, chemical sprays. And, at the time, these pesticides seemed like an absolute miracle. They were cheap, they were easy, they were the silver bullet that could take care of any pest problem, just like that.
But here's the catch. That convenience? It created this really dangerous cycle. See, the more you sprayed, the more the pests started to develop resistance. And at the same time, those sprays weren't just killing the bad bugs. They were wiping out the good ones too. That $4.5 billion workforce we just talked about? So what happens? You get even worse pest outbreaks, which makes it seem like you need, well, you guessed it, more pesticides. And round you go. That right there is the treadmill.
So how do you get off this thing? Well, it all starts with a huge shift in perspective. It's about learning to think not just like a farmer, but like an entire ecosystem.
I love this quote from the source material because it just completely reframes the whole issue. It says to think of pests not as the problem itself, but as a symptom, a signal that the farm's ecosystem is out of whack, that something is out of balance.
And this really gets to the heart of the difference. The old way was all reactive, right? You wait for a problem to pop up, then you run out and spray something on it. This new way is all about being proactive. It's about designing a farm system that's so healthy and balanced from the get-go that major pest outbreaks just don't really happen.
And this is a great visual for what that actually looks like in practice. The whole goal is to move away from this simplified, really vulnerable single crop system and move towards a farm that's diverse, complex, and resilient, the system that has its own defenses built right in.
Okay, so we've got the mindset down. Now, let's get into the how. What's the blueprint for actually making this happen? It really boils down to 4 core principles.
All right, here they are, the 4 pillars of ecological pest management. Number 1, promote biodiversity. Basically, add more variety. 2, create healthy crop habitats, because healthy soil means healthy plants. 3, reduce disturbance, things like tilling less to protect everything living in the soil. And finally, number 4, minimize all those off-farm inputs, things like synthetic fertilizers and pesticides. We're going to take a closer look at the first couple right now.
So, that first one, promoting biodiversity. This is all about variety. It could mean rotating different kinds of crops to break up pest cycles. It could mean planting wildflowers along the edges of fields to feed the good bugs. You could even plant different genetic varieties of the same crop. The key takeaway here is that variety above the ground helps create a super healthy, diverse world below the ground.
And that leads us right into principle number 2, because they're totally connected, creating healthy crop habitats. The most important thing to remember is this: healthy soil grows healthy plants, period. And a healthy plant, one that isn't stressed, has its own amazing built-in defense system to fight off pests and diseases all by itself. That's the foundation for this whole thing.
Okay, so we've got the principles, we get the theory, but what does a farmer actually do on a Tuesday afternoon? Well, for that, we need to open up the ecological toolbox.
And the big idea here is that you're not searching for that one silver bullet anymore. The real power of this approach comes from using a whole bunch of different strategies together, pulling different tools from the toolbox that all work together and make each other stronger.
Check this out. This is tool number 1, biological control. That paper wasp you see? That's not a pest. That's a partner. It's taking care of a cabbage worm, providing super effective pest removal for the low price of free.
The farmer's job is just to create a place where these guys want to hang out.
All right, tool number 2 might surprise you. Bringing in animals. Look at these sheep in the vineyard. They're not just hanging out, they are doing a job. They're basically a woolly lawn mowing and weeding crew taking care of the cover crops between the vines. That means less need for herbicides, less need for mowing with the tractor. They're a living, breathing, multi-purpose tool.
And here's another tool, creating habitat on purpose. See that strip of buckwheat next to the corn? That's not just there to look pretty. It's basically an insect hotel, a bed and breakfast for good bugs like lady beetles and hoverflies. And it turns out, their babies are absolute eating machines when it comes to common pests like aphids.
And one last tool for you, and this one really shows that third principle of reducing disturbance. What this tractor is doing is using something called a roller crimper. It's rolling down the cover crop, basically turning it into a thick mat, a mulch that smothers weeds. And the best part? It does this all without tilling up the soil. That protects the soil structure and all the amazing life that calls it home.
So when you put it all together, this new way of thinking, plus this whole toolbox of strategies, where does it all lead? Well, it leads to a totally different vision for what farming can be. And this is the real payoff. The benefits here go way beyond just getting rid of pests. We're talking about better profits because farmers are spending way less on chemicals and fertilizers. We're talking about more consistent yields year after year, better soil, cleaner water, and, this is a big one, a farm that's way more resilient to the wild swings we're seeing in our climate.
I mean, just look at this. This image really captures the ultimate goal, doesn't it? This whole approach, it's not just a how-to guide for killing bugs. It's a vision for creating farms that are productive, yes, but also beautiful, full of life, and just fundamentally stronger. So, we'll leave you with the big question that this entire idea is built around. For decades, we've been asking, what can we spray on our farms to protect them? But maybe, just maybe, the better question is this. How can we design our farms so they can be their very own powerful, self-regulating defense system?